And
we are live now.
Live.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome one more week to these live sessions where we are teaching you how to program practical cases with data. During the first 15 minutes, I showcase the code of a recent tutorial we have published, programming trading orders with Alpaca API in Python. And then I will solve your questions, any one that you may have, about deep learning, machine learning, data manipulation analysis, and the many other topics that you see on the screen. Now, if you don't know where to ask the questions, you can visit our Reddit post on this live lesson. You ask them here, and I will answer them during this live lesson. Then, what to expect from these lessons and the recordings, you can click on this link and you will see all of the live sessions we have held in the past. And finally, if you don't know where to start with programming, follow the steps that you have on this link to install Python and get started with the programming applied to practical cases. Now, let's go with the tutorials. In Datons.ai, we are publishing every day, every week. Here we have the tutorial that we will cover today, programming trading orders with Alpaca API in Python. And also, if you go, for example, to the topic finance, you will see all of the tutorials we have published on the topic. Why are we explaining today program trading orders with Alpaca API in Python? During the last session, we covered backtesting with machine learning investment strategies. Let's get a recap on the topic. At the beginning, we can develop machine learning models to predict what will be the price of the stock tomorrow. But then we need to know if the model is good or bad. Then we do backtest with the machine learning model to evaluate how good is the investment strategy that takes into account the predictions of the machine learning model. We start with a data set that you can check up this tutorial to learn how to pre-process stock market data, as you can see here, with a practical example on NVIDIA. Once we have the data, we start with selecting the features, which is the variable that you want to predict tomorrow. This is change tomorrow. And the rest of the variables will be considered as the explanatory variables. You can check this data set, change tomorrow will be the target, and the rest explanatory. So we build a simple model, decision tree regressor. There we have it. And now we evaluate how good is the model with the root mean square error. We get 0.03 approximately, which means that 68% of the time, the prediction will deviate as 3%, more or less. If we try other machine learning models, we might improve this metric. For this example, that's okay. Then we create the backtest, the investment strategy to later do the backtesting. So we import the class strategy from backtesting. The new one that we will create inherits the properties of this class, and it's configured in a way that you first initialize the model, and then you develop the logic to invest in the stock market or not in the simulation. In this case, if the prediction of tomorrow will surpass the standard deviation, the root mean squared error, means that we are likely sure that the stock will go up. So we buy the stock. And in the other case, we sell the stock if it's below the root mean squared error. So far, so good. We have the investment strategy, but then we would like to apply the backtest, which is based on the financial conditions. This is how much money am I starting, which are the commissions, exclusive orders equals true, and trade on close, true as well. We use the RAM function to get this report that tells us our investment strategy has a final equity of $11,000, resulting in a profit of 1,000%. Of course, there are many caveats on these machine learning models because if they would apply, everyone would be rich. The thing is that we need to make some train test split, etc. that I'm not going to cover today, but if you want to learn more about it, feel free to let me know in the comments of the Reddit channel, and I will gladly develop a tutorial on it. Then we can visualize the backtest simulation and see each individual trade operations, whether we buy or sell the stock. And then the resulting profit or losses. If it's a profit, we get a green triangle. If it's a loss, we get a down triangle, as you can see here. Good. Now, it's very good to backtest the data, the investment strategies, on historical data. And once we know we want to develop this investment strategy in the Python code, how can we simulate in real time these operations? That's where the Alpaca API gets in place. As you can see here, we have the dashboard from Alpaca. Let me sign up in the account. Tebian, have you used Alpaca before? Me. Can you hear me?
I never used it before.
I don't think I can.
Use it before. I never heard about even.
Alpaca, right?
So it's my first time to know about it or to learn about Alpaca.
Let me show you. Alpaca. So this is the website. I want to show you the There we go. So, by the way, anything that we say here, it's not a financial advice. It's just for teaching purposes. And developing an algorithm for trading with stocks is a very good practical case so that you can learn a lot of things about programming and also implementing a project in real time. So this API is great because it offers a demo account that you can simulate operations without putting your money or any financial credit information. I'm gonna log in into my account. And there we go. Now, there are two modes, which is the demo and the live account. The live account is the one where you put your real money. The paper should be the demo account. Here, you can even reset the account whenever you see fit, put the initial money you want to start trading. do a reset. And now here, we start with $100,000. Now, if I want to perform an operation in the stock, we have the $100,000. I need to search for a stock. Let's go with Bitcoin, which has this ticker, BTC USD. And here I can see the candlestick chart with the historical information. And to the right, I can see the median price to place an order. I could, for example, tell that I want to go with a market order. I will buy with the total amount in dollars. I can also choose the number of Bitcoins I'd like to buy. In our case, we are going to use all of the available money, $100,000. Then we can, second. Okay. After we click on the no. Timing force is by default good until cancel. We review the order. They say the disclaimer to confirm it. We confirm. And now the order has been created. We can see here that we are holding 1.46 Bitcoins with a market value of $97,000. Here we can see the summary of the profit and losses. And then we can also sell the position in the dashboard. We tell in Bitcoin amounts, we put these amounts, review the order, confirm. The cost basis cannot sell. Second. Well, let's sell 1 Bitcoin. But also 1 second, because now I know what I'm doing. To close this position that we have just opened, we need to click on the position, and theoretically something should appear here so that we can close it. Let me check. Yeah, so now we are holding, it's been closed, the 1 Bitcoin we have sold. We start with 0.46, and we still have some dollars in the demo account in addition to the money value of the Bitcoin. So we have $68 in cash, and we have lost $600 based on the trading we have just performed, buying and selling the Bitcoin. Now, the big question is, how can we create the code that will buy and sell the stock for us? The first thing is to create an account in Alpaca, and to validate our credentials in the application, we need the API keys and the secret. To get this, we shall go in the accounts, API keys. we generate the new keys, and these are the ones that we should copy and paste in the code. Once we install the Alpaca library, we create the trading client with the API key and secret, specifying that this is a demo account, paper equals true. And then we can see the information that we have $100,000 in cash. And also we can create operations without manually clicking on the buttons, as we saw previously. How can we create these requests? So we need to tell in this type of objects the symbol that we want to buy, notional with the amount in dollars, and which type of we want to buy or sell, and also the time in force. Once we submit the order, we get the operation, which has resulted in this case 1.4 Bitcoins. Then we close the position with these functions, close position, using the asset ID given by the client. And finally, we can see the balance, in this case was $92. Now, I'm gonna level up this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll show you how to create a machine learning model, an LSTM, and then with the prediction, we will buy or sell the stock. So to do so, I'm gonna even do it with ChatGPT, but you can know how to ask questions. Tebian, do you use ChatGPT?
Yes, I'm familiar with ChatGPT.
Nice. So let's open the Python programming in this specific folder. There we go. So let's get started with a hot stock nowadays, which is NVIDIA. To do so, I'm gonna work with the Y Finance library. Then I download the ticker for NVIDIA. Which, yeah, DF. And now I'm gonna start filtering the data because I want to start from the decades 2020 until the end. Nowadays, I save the result back into the variable. And now I want to create an LSTM model to perform predictions on the future. Have you worked with LSTM models before, Tebian?
Yes, LSTM.
Nice. I cannot hear you well though. If you can...
I don't know what's going on today. I think my headset is not working well or something.
Okay, now it's good. Now it's good.
Okay.
So in ChatGPT, if I want to do an LSTM, I will ask generate Python code to predict the price of tomorrow in a stock using LSTM models, neural networks. using Keras or TensorFlow, which is a Python library that works with neural networks. Now I want to be, during these live lessons, I want to teach you more methodology to learn coding instead of copy pasting, getting the results, etc. Because that's how you will be better later on. Give me 1 second. So instead of copy pasting all of these codes, let's go with it step by step to make sense of what we are developing. First thing is to detect where we are working with the data and what do we currently have here. So we have our data frame, df, and now that's the data they have put in the tutorial. So we don't start with copy pasting these codes, we already start with df. Now we need to normalize the data to have it between 0 and 1. So let's normalize it. And in this case, if I execute the code, I will get an error because min-max scalar is not defined. And this is the function they have from sklearn. In sklearn, you see this code. You will have many modules which are sub-libraries to develop algorithms over the data. In our case, the pre-processing is to scale the data, transform it in any other way suitable for machine learning development. In our case, we will apply min-max scalar so that the data, instead of being between $59 and $1,900, it will be between 0 and 1, as you can see here. Fit to range 0 and 1. If we execute, still is going to give us an error because the defined data, our data is df. We execute, and now we have the scaled data. Okay. We can develop a chart. I'm going to mute you because I'm hearing background noise, I think. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I will ask you questions and then you will unmute. Okay, Debian?
Okay, I'm not muted. You want me to mute myself?
I will do it, and then when I ask you, you can answer, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. But I will be asking you questions, no worries. So I can plot the data with a line, and then I can put in the Y scaled data, but using the flatten. And here I can see the evolution of the NVIDIA stock from the first time. I cannot see the date here because I'm not using the data from df. I am using the data from scaled, which goes from 0 to 1. But if I would have used the data of df, now I can see between 0 and 100. And also in the x-axis, I can put the index to see the years. Now, if I would like to make trades based on future predictions, let's say that I am in the 14th of July and I want to predict for the 15th of July. I need to prepare the data before doing the machine learning models. To do so, we need to create sequences of data. And this is to prepare the last n number of days, which is the sequence length parameter, and have it as an explanatory variable. We can copy paste these codes, but probably I'd like to show it step by step. Tevian, do you know what they are doing here?
Actually, I felt lost.
Okay, I will recap, no worries. So you see at the beginning that they create an empty array, right?
Yes.
XS and XY, YS. That's because in the XS, they will put the first 60 days and then the following 60 days for each one of the days. You follow?
Yes, I'm following.
Nice. So now to develop this, we need to start from the beginning. We have data. In our case, scaled data. What shall we do with this? I'm going to put it as a variable so that we can simplify the code. And now, how many days I have? 1,060 and 70. How can I take the first 60 days? You dictate me. Do you know?
First 60 days, I need
Yeah.
to say data from the beginning up to 60. Up to 61.
So which character should I type if I want to access a part of the data?
This is an array, so I need the square bracket.
Nice.
So. Data from the beginning up to 60.
That's it.
Up to 61.
So we put the column character should I type to start from the beginning, and then we put the 60. And now we have the first 60 days, right?
Yes, first 60 days.
Now, this would be the YS, which is the target. And now, if I want to take the data for the sequence length, I need to change something in the code. Which is the data that I am going to predict after the 60 days? The following one, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to put data 61. And that's the data set, the data value that I am predicting. Now, for the following day, what am I going to do? The 60 days, or from the following day to the 60 days plus the following?
From the following days to 60 days up to the following.
Okay. Now I'm gonna put this in a variable so that the 60 days is the sequence length. And in the numbers here is the range that we are passing through the data. So this can be called Y, right? And at the beginning, we start with 0, 1, or with any other data that we want. Now, this is the individual X that I'm using, which is the Y. How can I use it programmatically through the variables?
I have no idea.
You see that before in sequence length, we had the 60, right?
60, yes.
And now we have the Y, the I, which is 0. In this case, if I put the Y, the day 0, and then if I put sequence length plus I get 60, right? I
Yes.
want to predict the following day in the Y, right? Which is data 61. But I'm gonna do this programmatically, iterating over all of the days individually. So I cannot put 61 as a fixed number. I need to use the variables.
Sequence length
That's it. But if I use sequence length right now,
plus 2
you see?
plus I
Plus I, that's it. But remember that I,
plus 2 plus 1.
that's it, plus 1. And then we have the X and the Y. Good? Now, another question. How can I iterate over all of this process? Also, they have used sequence length. Yeah, I think that's okay. How to iterate over all of this process? I need to identify the variables, which is sequence length. It's always the same. And then the Y is going to change, right? Because I'm going to pass
Yes.
over each one of the days. Which values will the Y take? The I.
I need to put IDs and replace it with for loop.
That's it. So I use it, all of this inside the for loop. I started here, and now I is gonna iterate over a range of values, right?
Of 0 up to length of data.
That's it. So we can go to the length of the data, and then we can say it here n days, for example. Now, if I execute, it gives
I'm
me,
going to get out of range
that's it. So how can I
because
solve
I need
this?
to subtract the length of data minus the sequence length.
That's it. So I need to subtract the minus sequence length, right?
Minus 1 again.
Minus 1. But let's check it
Because
out.
I start from 0.
Uh,
We're not going to reach the last term.
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, let's say minus 1. But I think I am still, yeah, now it's good. So where do we have the data prepared? Because if I want to create a machine learning model, what do I need?
I need to have a data training and test data to insert it or to input it into machine learning.
And you can see that we have X and Y, but this X and this Y is the one that we need.
No, I need to transpose this X.
It could be, but
Maybe.
look at this. You see that here to train the machine learning model, we only have one value for the Y.
But I think after I apply a for loop, I should have more than one value for Y, and I need to save it in database.
That's it. So we need to create the X and the Y to store the data that we are selecting every time here, right? Good.
Yes.
And the same for X, Y, S, append Y. And now if I go to the YS, then I can see all of the values. Good. Finally, I will need to put this as an array. So that's why we should put here MP array. NumPy library, and there we have it. We save it back into the variable, and we apply the same for the x. Okay. Now I have xs, which has a shape of 1,009 days, the 60 days prior that I am going to take into account to predict each one of the ys that I have in this data. Good now? ¿Está bien?
Yes, very clear.
Nice. So xs, ys, we execute. Train test split, which is a function from sklearn machine learning model to select the best model, model selection, import train test split. We execute, and there we go. In this case, should be okay. Although it's, should be okay. What shall we do now? That we have the training sets. We have 800 days to optimize the numbers of the mathematical equation. And then, on the other hand, we will have 202 days to evaluate how good the model would have been. To optimize the numbers of this mathematical equation using LSTM, which stands for long short-term memory. It's a type of neural network. What we will do is create the structure for this model that comes from TensorFlow library, but here is a problem that TensorFlow is not defined, and that's because in the ChatGPT code they provided, I need to import TensorFlow. I execute. If I don't have it installed, I should install it using pip install TensorFlow, or I could create a separate environment to work with the deep learning, which is what I have done, but I don't have the kernel for it. Debian, do you know how to create a new Python? A new environment using Conda?
I'm not understand your question clearly.
Sorry. So you see the problem that we have here, that I don't have the TensorFlow library, right?
Yes.
But now I don't want to install TensorFlow in this Python because it's going to mess up with other versions of my other libraries.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So now, instead of installing the Python here, I'm going to create a new Python in my computer.
Like the folk in GitHub.
We can do it with a terminal, so I can do mamba create n, and here I can use, for example, deep learning Datons, and here I will install the TensorFlow library. I execute, and now it's going online to look for the packages to install TensorFlow in this new Python. Have you ever installed Python environments using Conda?
Yes, I'm very familiar with Conda.
Sometimes it's tricky. You see here that we have all of these libraries about to be installed in the computer, and this is the new Python that we will have. I confirm the changes. Okay. So it's working. Now I want to activate the environment. So Mamba activate as they specify in these instructions. And here I have the environment. But there is a problem because if I go here, I don't see the environment, DL Datons. I need to install the kernel. To do so, I need to go IP kernel. The kernel is an intermediary between the Python that we have installed and the Jupyter notebooks. So I can take this snippet of codes, go here, substitute for the environment they created to put the one that I have just created, go back to the terminal and install it. But there is a problem. I don't have the module IP kernel, which is the Python library that it's being executed here. To install it, I need to use mamba install yp kernel. Then we execute the installation of the kernel. It's being installed in the computer. Now it should appear here, DL Datons. Sometimes it doesn't because I need to restart the kernel or shut it down. If it still doesn't appear, here we have it, DL Datons. Now, since we are using another Python kernel and I execute this line of code, it's not going to work. It's loading with the star. There might have been an error. The kernel died. I'm going to start again. Also, let me check if Python is working here. I'm checking if Python is gonna work. I think we are getting some errors on the TensorFlow library. Okay. I'm gonna install it again. I take advantage of this waiting time to tell you that if you want to learn Python step by step during an intense course, you can join the course that we are hosting during the next 16th of April in this link that I will send you on the chat. And you can see all of the contents that we will cover in the syllabus, as well as the testimonials, my experience, etc. It's gonna be great because I will be watching how you develop the codes to take notes on the ground developments that you may be doing so that I can later explain you the best practices. So take a look at the websites, and if you're interested, join us for the next cohort on the 16th of April in 2 weeks. Continuing with the Python codes, now that everything seems to be all right, let's check that import TensorFlow works okay. Now it's good. We don't get any errors, so let's open Jupyter Lab. The kernel may be working. If it's with the thunderstorm here, it means that it's loading, but somehow it's dying. Yeah. The specified module cannot be found. I'm gonna check up if I have another. Deep learning is not gonna work. It's the one that I had before. Fast AI. Okay, I'm gonna try to do it with work. I later provide a tutorial on how to solve these issues on creating a new Python environment with TensorFlow. I'll post it on the YouTube channel. Debian, did you have many problems when installing TensorFlow library, or was it smooth? I cannot hear you now.
Problem. So you want to stay, you want to install Nevada?
No, not yet.
Nevada to download. I think there is I here, NVIDA.
Yeah, but I am trying to install now Python, the TensorFlow library, but it's not working because somehow I'm having troubles with the environment. Did you experience troubles in installing TensorFlow library on your computer?
So you decided to install it in your computer or on your PC, then you're going to use it in place of using another version or make like a frog or something. You're going to change it.
Yeah, and I wonder if you had a lot of trouble when installing TensorFlow in your computer.
Okay, clear.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's taking too much time.
It will take too much time. You can fix it, but it's going to take too much time.
Yeah. Never mind. So since this was an extra, we can leave it here, and I will later post a tutorial for the next week.
Okay.
But I think no, now it's installed. Ringing the bell. Let me check 1 second. So let's finance, the data, the test. Let's see if it's good. There we
Well
go.
done.
We can start it.
Well done.
We saved the day. So let me quickly cover this. There we go. So going back with the tutorial, we create the machine learning model with the TensorFlow structure. This is a warning.
We make min and max scalar.
Yeah. And the X-train has been done on the data that we can see data. And here we are iterating over data, which contains the scaled one. So now we need to use the compiler, and then we can train the machine learning model with model.fit. And this function is asking for X and Y, which is our X train, and Y, which is Y train. And if I execute, it's preparing the codes. Now it's over. But there are many things that we can improve, because if we calculate the predictions with X test, there we have them. But Debian, if I want to see the real data to compare the predictions with the reality, so that I have the original data, which was X,
Y test.
but I want to put it as a data frame for pandas.
Y test is Y predict.
Yeah. So Y test, PD, data frame, the real data. Ah. There we go. So I have the close price, but you see that the close price, it's the scaled data, right?
Yes.
I need to unscale the data so that I can see the real information, right?
Yes.
So since we have the scalar saved here, we can apply a function to inverse transform the Y test. And there we have it, the real prices. And this is what we will use in the original data. Good. Now, I want to create a new column to compare the predictions and the reality. How can we do so? The predictions are now values between 0 and 1, right? Because we scale the data.
Yes.
But I want to compare it with the actual close price of the stock, which is $400, $100, etc. How can I convert this?
Inverse transformation.
That's
Do the
it.
same inverse transformation. We have the scalar already saved.
So scalar dot inverse transformation.
Y predictions. We flatten it, and then we save it back into the data set. Close, pred. And here we can see the predictions on the reality, that if we use the function plots, we can see that, well, not too bad. The model
So
is
close.
But this
Can we change the color? The orange color, I think it's the orange color, I think it cannot allow us to see well the comparison because it's shining more than the blue one.
I can use the alpha. There we go. Also, I can change the backend from pandas, PD options, back plotting, backends, plotly. There we go. So I think the predictions are pretty good, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this is strange. Maybe we have done something. I would need to check it though. I will do it during the tutorial that I will record. So, any more doubts, Debian?
No, I think it's very clear, and the way that you use it, the ChatGPT, I think I like it so much. It was very clear and clarify my concept, clarify my mind in a nice manner.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you a lot.
I see many people that just go with ChatGPT, copy, paste, submit
That's it.
projects, and then I forget about anything. Then, if I have a question with one of my colleagues or in an interview, I won't really know how to defend something when I get to the technical interview. On the opposite,
this is my issue now.
That's it. Like if you apply constant reasoning and go step by step, selecting carefully the lines of codes and making sense of what you are doing every step at a time, you will nurture the skills that will serve you during the interview, right?
Yes, exactly.
It requires to be patient enough when you are learning programming. Go step by step and don't rush to just get the solution, and don't be content with getting the solution. You should measure your ability to learn by creating code from scratch, because now if I would give you some data set like this one, my question is, would you be able to develop the TensorFlow model step by step? And that's how you really evaluate your skills. And using this TensorFlow that you see here, now you can import, and you don't need to remember all of the things. You are just using the tabulator to see what you have inside. So if I import TensorFlow as TF, I don't need to remember everything. I just put the tab, I start looking for anything that I want, like the keras, then inside I get to the layers, then I get to the LSTM model. And once you have find the function, if you ask in the help, it will also give you the instructions, and down below, you see that it's giving you the help. So again, you can reuse the instructions to keep working on the code without looking at ChatGPT and reasoning all the time about what you're doing. And that's what I am mainly teaching during these live lessons, where I am watching if you apply these thinking processes and giving you best advices on the way during the lesson. So you or anyone that may be watching the recording later, take a look. And if you have any question, you can let me know in our Reddit community that I will be happy to answer. It's Reddit, Datons, and any doubt you may have, I'll be ready and happy to answer it. So Debian, thanks for joining me today. I will see you next week with another topic and tutorial. And it's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks a lot for the session. And I will be there, inshallah, next week.
Nice.
See you.
Bye-bye, Debian.